Hey everybody, this is the third video in my Labyrinth inspired Alaina drawing, and in this video I'm going to be rendering everything out. You're going to see the final drawing. So this was a really fun drawing to do. I think it captured Buggy's personality. Can you say hi to everybody? Can you wave? Buggy ran off because yeah, she can't stay still for more than 10 seconds. Hi. So I plan on doing a part 4 of this video, but it'll be separate and it might be a little ways down the road. I plan on doing it in watercolor, and when I do that I'll actually show you guys a cool transfer technique for because I don't want to redraw that whole thing, but I can transfer the drawing to a piece of watercolor paper and then I'll do watercolor. However, I haven't done watercolor in a really long time, so I'm gonna need some practice. So I think my next couple videos are gonna be watercolor videos, and it'll be kind of me relearning watercolor and stuff. So anyway, here's the video, and hope you guys like it, and thanks for watching. So when I'm rendering everything out, I'm thinking of a couple of things here. I'm thinking of where my light's coming from, which I decided early on I want the tree to kind of be emanating the light. And it's not going to be a realistic light source. I mean, none of the shading or anything like that I'm doing here is realistic. I'm basically kind of making things look round and stuff like that. This is a fantasy illustration, so I'm using a light source, but it's made up kind of in my head. And it's, you know, it's not natural. I mean, obviously if light is coming from this tree, it's not a real light source. But what also I'm thinking about where the foreground is, because the foreground is going to have your darkest values, because they're one, furthest from the light, but they're also closer to you, so things closer tend to be darker, and that's kind of a rule from drawing landscapes and stuff, because you have atmospheric perspective and everything, but I choose to do it in my illustrations even when they're close up like this. So right now I'm using my hard lead pencil, which is H, and that's the pencil I drew everything in with, and basically I'm going after midtones. So I'm not using my 9B pencil right now, which is really soft. I'll use that to get really black. I'll use it on the crib and some other stuff, so you'll see that when I start laying it in. So yeah, this is my cat Yuki, and she decided she wanted to lay on my drawing. I don't know why cats do that, but I decided, you know what, it wasn't hurting me. I was drawing on this side of the page, so I was just gonna let her lay there. On the roots and the tree, I decided to use this kind of half moon shape shading technique. It really gives the roots a nice round organic look, and I liked it a lot, so I decided to do that. I'll do that on all of it, and I'll go over it again with a really dark pencil because those roots are supposed to be really dark. So the folds underneath the crib, I feel like turned out really good, and a lot of that is from the shading. And I know a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of videos out there on drawing and shading folds and stuff like that. I think it's really easy. I always kind of, I mean, I just winged it. I didn't look at the picture of this thing hardly at all, and especially not for the folds. I feel like the folds, once you kind of get the technique down, I can do them from imagination now. So, and I really like the way they turned out. They're really they pop out at you and they look like cloth kind of hanging down. So and basically you can see how I do those little kind of U-shaped dark line folds underneath. That really gives them dimension, and I keep it really light on top because, you know, they were white cloth, so I'm thinking about the actual material that I'm you know, adding value to. So right here you can see me using the those half moon shaped marks to shade in the roots. I feel like that technique's really good for when you're doing figure drawing as well. I mean, it really helps things look round, and it's a nice contrast to the way I was shading everything else. The fabric, I'm just kind of all over the place because it was all over the place. But if you look at the walls and all the crib and stuff, I tried to keep my strokes at the same angle consistently. One thing I could have done better right here, as you can see where I'm shading the crib, is I should have just kept all vertical movement on my shading on the crib, because when you get lines going everywhere, it can kind of look like a mess. That's kind of one of the disciplines of drawing, I feel like, is keeping all your strokes and everything kind of going the same direction. It adds a lot of unity to the drawing, and it'll just make it look a lot more professional. So you're going to see me go over this part of the drawing several times, and I really want to get this really nice and dark over here. I want to reduce the amount of highlights I have in this area because this is one of the corners, you know, this is that antagonist I was kind of talking about in the drawing, and I want him to be kind of in the shadows. The fairies were really fun to draw. I kind of made them like with funny spiky hair, and I changed their wings from the original design because I just felt like, you know, I wanted them to stick out a little bit more. That's one of the things I'll definitely add more of probably later on this drawing, is more fairies and stuff. I just had the 3 on here, and I think I'll hide some, maybe. In fact, I thought about doing having one like kind of pulling the hands of the clock backwards, like stopping time, and that was going to be like a metaphor for me wishing that Alaina wouldn't get any older. So right here I'm working on Buggy a little bit more. Later on, actually, after this was done, I felt like she was still a little bit too dark, so I took the eraser to her face, and I feel like I finally got her kind of right where I wanted her. Not so much contrast on her face. So this is the least favorite part of this drawing for me, was this chandelier thing. We have this really complex like wooden chandelier with sprinkles all over it in Alaina's room, and I was like, I am not going to draw that. It would take way too long for just a simple object. I wish I had now, because I hated the way that chandelier turned out, but it is what it is, and it's only one part of a very complex drawing, so I just left it.
One of the things that I feel like really adds dimension to a drawing is the drop shadows that objects cast. The roots on the ceiling are a really good example of that. You can really see the dimension where they kind of leave the ceiling or leave the wall because of those shadows that are cast. I love that, and I love the effect it gives. So right here I'm using the eraser to add highlights to everything. It's just going to make everything pop that much more. So right here I am going over all those foreground objects, and I'm gonna add a lot, make them a lot darker. They really need to be dark. In fact, even after I stopped filming, I actually went back over the drawing and made them even darker because I really wanted that nice variety of values in this drawing. This was a really fun drawing to do, and I continued working on it even after I filmed, so you'll see some stuff coming up here that I added and it wasn't in the time-lapse. So, and I'll probably add more. This is a drawing I feel like I can work on for a long time, just adding little things, but I feel like I got to a point where I can call it finished, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I mean, not everything's perfect, but I feel like it's definitely something that I'll hold on to for a long time. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was a fun series to do. I plan on doing another one of these in the future, so hopefully you guys stick around and watch some more videos.